Ready to level up your leadership from the ground up? This is Lead from the Line. Here's your host, Coach Mac.
Coach Mac, Coach Mac, here is your host, Coach Mac, Coach Mac.
Yo, welcome back to Lead from the Line. I'm excited today because we're back, right? We are going to start season 2 of Lead from the Line. And so before we get started, a couple of asks. If you see that subscribe button, please click it. Here's my hope, right? My hope is that any of my words get out to the people that need to hear them. I'm a small content creator. Again, I am not creating any of this to say that I have the most successful podcast or anything like that, right? I have a passion for sports. I have a passion for youth sports. I have a passion for raising the future leaders of the world. I have a passion for getting young men to believe they can be who they're called to be. Right now, this is all done in the grand scheme of a game, but I have a passion for doing things the right way. And so your follows, your subscriptions, your likes, your shares, everything like that is important to me, being small, because it helps me get this information out. Now, again, as I say that, as long as one person takes something from it, then that's a win for me. So as we dive into season 2, right? Season 1, we talked a little bit about building the youth athletes, getting them where they need to be. So today, when we're talking about that, everything starts with us, right? So today we're going to kick off a series dedicated to the most important people in the youth sports ecosystem. And that's the parents and the coaches, right? So at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want our kids to be gritty. We want our kids to be fast, to be clutch when the game is on the line, right? We want all those things from our kids. But there's that 15-minute window in a young athlete's life that can either build resilience or destroy their love for the game entirely. Now, this is something that I'm passionate about, something that we've talked about a lot, and it's because there is so much behind this, okay? That car ride home can make or break so many things. And the more and more research I've done, the more and more as I was getting ready to go into season 2 and kind of spacing my episodes out and deciding what to start with, the reason I'm starting here is because I think that this is more impactful than anything else we can teach our kids. If we can teach our kids that no matter how the game goes, that we still love them the same. Now, I know that sounds easy. That sounds like, man, that should be a given. My kids should know that I love them no matter what. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So another one of the things that I've been doing is I've been going on Instagram, Facebook, and I've been reacting to reels, whether it's youth parents fighting, whether it's kids or parents coaching their kids. Like, I've been reacting to these. And the funny thing is you would be shocked at some of the stuff you see on the internet. And so nothing is a given these days. Even our kids feeling our love is not a given, and they need to know, hey, my mom or dad loves me no matter what. And so everything that we want, and we want to build our kids up, those kind of things don't happen in the locker room, right? It happens in the back seat of that SUV on the way home. So today's episode is simply titled The Car Ride Manifesto. So why this is the most dangerous time for an athlete's development. And we're going to talk about it. And again, this is something that I've hit on this in a previous episode, but I'm understanding the way social media works is that some people may not catch any of season 1, right? They may find me in season 2. I don't want any of the most important teachings for me to get lost on anything because what somebody may miss. So the Car Ride Manifesto and those 6 words that can simply change your relationship with your kid. Okay. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to call this basically the trapped athlete host, right? So let's talk about this. Let's set this scene. The whistle blows, the game is over. Maybe your team lost. Maybe your kid's team lost. They played poorly. Or here's another one. Maybe they won, but there was a glaring mistake in, say, the second quarter of the game. Your kid walks to the car. They're sweaty. They're tired. They buckle in. They're literally a captive audience, right? At that point, our kids generally, I know my kids after the game, they're tired. They just kind of sit there, they decompress a little bit, right? And as parents and coaches, when we're driving them, we have the answer, right? We know what they did. We saw the mistake, right? We've coached, do this or do this a certain way. And so when that mistake is made, that's how we saw the mistake, because we've coached these situations. So that's how, when they made that mistake in the second quarter, that stuck in your head, because it's probably one of those situations where it's like, man, we've talked about this. This is something we've worked on for, especially depending upon how old your kid is, this is something we've worked on for many, many years. And so we saw that mistake and we want to help. And once they buckled in that car and we start driving off, we immediately say, why didn't you block the way you were supposed to? Why didn't you catch that one pass? Hey, why didn't you pass it to Timmy, who was wide open in the corner? Why didn't you make that extra pass on the soccer field to get a wide open goal? Right? Or, hey, you weren't aggressive enough on the boards. You didn't block out properly, and you allowed people to get those offensive rebounds. And so the reality check, and this is what I want us as parents and coaches to really, really take from this season, right? Because this season, I'm coming straight at parents, I'm coming straight at coaches. And so to a child, this feels like they're sitting down being interrogated. They get in their car, which is supposed to be their safe space, and immediately the questions start coming about why you didn't do this, why you didn't do that, this, that, and the other. Now, I told you the scene is they could have won the game, they could have lost the game. But does that matter? Does a child see that? You know, I know how my kids work, and it feels like it's very boom, 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 boom with them. When I give them a task, I got to write that task out for them or lay that task out where they know exactly what they need to do. So for me, I know with my kids, the game kind of ends, the game ends. And so they're going to that next moment. And if that very next moment is you're getting interrogated like you're on Law and Order, doom, doom. It's like doom, 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 doom. And they're just like, what in the world is going on here? I didn't know I was on Law and Order and I'm being interrogated for the way I performed or didn't perform on a game. And so this feels like interrogation and not just a coaching session. And so this is really, really cool. So research from the Positive Coaching Alliance and various sports psychologists shows that the car ride home is the #1 reason why kids quit sports before the age of 13. Did you hear that? It's not practices. It's not a mean coach. It's not the effort it takes or I don't want to do it or I'm not good enough. It's the car ride home is the #1 reason why kids are quitting sports. And that to me blows my mind. Because that car ride home is with someone who is supposed to be a safe space. That was going to hurt a little bit. And it does me too, because I used to do this. I used to get in the car and want to immediately talk about the game. Immediately, you did this, you didn't do this. And so as we go on this episode, we're going to talk about what I learned in that situation and how I got better. And again, I always talk from a place of I've done this too. I'm sitting in the chair, I'm behind the camera, but I'm not perfect in any of these situations. As a coach, as a dad, as a whatever, I've still messed up in these. And so why is this the number one reason? It's because the fun of the game is immediately replaced by the analysis. Sorry, I can't even talk. The fun of the game is immediately replaced by the analysis of their failure. I'm gonna pause on that. So they went from playing a game, which is supposed to be fun, to then their game is being analyzed. And again, analyzed by the people that are supposed to be their safe space, right? And so in the segment, what we're going to talk about is the biological refractory period. Now, we're getting deep. I've done some research. I really wanted to pull stuff in. So after a game, an athlete's cortisol is high. Their brain is physically incapable of processing constructive criticism effectively. Okay? After your kid has given their all, after your kid has played their heart out, they can't process anything else in that moment. They need to decompress, not debrief. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're starting to pull facts and all these details and all these things that really show, man, that car ride home means everything. And I told you, I'm coming in season 2. And because I want us to be better. I'm seeing all these moments on the internet that just drive me crazy at my core. I'm like, I cannot believe that people act like this. I cannot believe that parents at youth games act like this. I can't believe that, well, I can actually believe that sometimes a youth athlete acts out of emotion and does something. I can believe that. I really, really can. And that's in an opportunity where us as coaches and parents have to teach. But when I see situations that are being led and they're crazy because of parents and coaches, that drives me up the wall. We are called to lead and lead the right way so that our kids have a proper example to follow. And if we're acting crazy, talking crazy, what are we showing our kids, right? So there's 3 roles. There's the fan, the coach, and the parent. Okay. So this is where it gets tricky, especially for those of you that are both. Okay. And I understand that, and I'm right there with you. And so you hear the whistle during the game, but your dad or mom on the way home. Okay. So you hear that whistle, and that's fine. It's okay during the game to be the coach. So you have to decide which hat you are wearing. The coach corrects technical errors, and that belongs on the field. The fan cheers for the results, and that belongs in the stands. The parent provides unconditional love regardless of the score. And you know where that person belongs? That's who belongs in the car. None of the other 2 should ever make it to the car. And I know that's hard. Again, I'm glad to talk about that. It's way more difficult for those who are both a parent and a coach, because you've got extra emotions added on, right? If you're just a parent and you're watching the game, you didn't coach, you didn't do any of the practices, you have a little bit of a different feeling about the game. I get it. You may still have the feelings of, man, my kid didn't do this right, or I'm upset in this situation, or whatever it may be, but you don't have as much skin in the game. You do because your kid's playing, but you don't have as much skin as in the game if you didn't put in the hours and go through the week of practice and install the plays and the game plan and the plan, and then for it to not work or for it to work, but there still be some mistakes. That's a difference. And so it's really, really hard to determine, and turn off. And so, because you have to analyze the game too, right? Again, our games are filmed. And so after they're over, I like to watch, once the film's uploaded, which is generally the next day, I like to watch real quick, but I've gotten to the point where I will quickly watch our game and then go on and watch the opponent we're going to play next. Because in my opinion, I'm like, I can see what we've done and I know what to coach, but I can't fix anything that's already happened, right? So there's no reason to dwell on anything. Now, in my mind, I can remember, man, we didn't do this right or we didn't do that right. And so I can put a special effort into coaching that. But that's just one thing that I, too, have got to learn how to make sure that the person communicating with my kids after the game is the parent version and not the coach. And so I want to challenge you this week or whenever your kids have their next game, whatever that looks like. I want you to try the silent drive home. Don't bring up the game unless they bring it up first. Let your kids talk about it if they want to, but still then and there you listen. You just listen, not to try to fix anything, but just to listen. And this will kind of give you insight too, because check this one out. You know your kid made a mistake, right? You saw it. You saw the mistake they made. You have in mind they didn't block out all the things we talked about at the start of this episode. So how cool would it be if your kid, as they start talking, go, man, Dad, I missed this. Man, Mom, I messed up on this play. You hear those kind of words in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, they're aware. They know the teaching. They know everything we've worked on, and they're aware they made the mistakes too. So why in the world do you need to double down on that? You know? So listen, not to fix, but just to let your kid know, like, hey, I'm listening. Okay, yeah. Talk about the game. Give them short answers. Man, Dad, I didn't block out. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right, son. Hey, you won the game. Hey, you didn't win the game, but that's okay. Then you can kind of simply redirect, hey, but I love your effort. I love your hustle. Okay? Simply shut that down. And then if they want to talk about it, just talk about it. If they want to talk about Minecraft or Fortnite, or I'm going to go home and play Roblox or go play basketball or ride my e-bike or whatever it is, let them talk about that. Okay. Hey, what are we going to eat when we get home? Let them talk about that. So you just give them the power to initiate the conversation on that drive home. You're not talking about anything. You're letting them initiate, and then you're just letting them know that your love for them isn't valued to the game. Like the way they played has no value on the way you love them. Simple as that. So the game ends, but guess what? Your love is there and your love stays the same no matter how they play. And I think that's something that we all can benefit from. And I know it's going to be hard, because I see some of y'all right now, and when you're listening to this, you're like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to tell my kid everything they did wrong because we pay all this money for this sport. We're playing travel ball. We're doing this. We're doing that. I'm going to make sure they know they messed up on this situation. Well, you do that, and you let me know how that works out for you. Try the other approach, because here's my thing. If you've always talked on the car ride home and always analyzed their performances, has it improved? Has it helped anything or made anything worse? That's the question. If what you're doing is working, cool. Do it the way you've always done it. But if you're noticing, man, it's not changing the way my kid performs, man, my kid's actually not working as hard, man, my kid is just down on themselves all the time, maybe you're the problem. Try something different and see what happens. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different response. So if you're getting the same responses out of your kids, guess what? Bingo, you're the issue. Try something different. I think that's a problem too. We're parents. We played sports. I played D1 football. I played in the SEC, and you're not playing football now at this age, at this time, with these athletes. Simple as that. Try something different. Don't be too cool or let your ego get in the way and stop you from helping your kid by simply changing something you do. We can control ourselves. Simple as that. All right, so we're going to move on real quick here. So this is my favorite thing, and it's that beautiful 6-word solution. So you're asking yourself, hey, if we aren't supposed to critique, then what do we say? So there was a landmark study where college athletes were asked what their parents said that made them feel the best. It wasn't great win or you're the best on your team. It was these 6 words. I love to watch you play. I'm going to say that one more time. I love to watch you play. So let's talk about why this works, because it's objective. It requires nothing from the athlete. It focuses on your joy in their presence and not their performance for your approval. When you say this, you release that pressure valve. You become a safe harbor. And ironically, when an athlete feels safe and not judged by their parents, they actually play better because they aren't afraid to make a mistake. See, it's not that difficult in the grand scheme of things to just try something else. When you say those words, like I said, that pressure valve releases. Your kids feel safe, which they should feel safe, right? When you get done playing a game as a kid, you should be excited to climb in the car with your parents and drive home. Win or lose, you should. You shouldn't dread, man, I'm going to get in the car with this man again. There's no telling what he's going to say today. And that's a terrible feeling right there. And so I love to watch you play. Say that. Then what you can do is what we just talked about. I love to watch you play, and guess what? Zip your lips. Drive home. If they want to talk, let them talk. Let them initiate the conversation. Try it that way, and after they've released and they don't feel that pressure anymore, there's no telling what they're going to say. You know, again, as I said, it's all boom, boom, boom. They may then start saying, I know I did this. And then you're like, boom, they already know. So then as you go into the next week, good. So my opinion is that you shouldn't talk about the game until the next day if they want to, right? And in my opinion too, after the game is over, nothing is going to change that past game. And so I've tried to really get better at, as we're driving home from our games, to just be like quickly, oh, yeah, boom, boom, let me get what you said. Okay, boom, well, the game's over. We're done with football until Monday or whenever we have the next practice. And I've really, I mean, I've said that multiple times now because it's like, it's over. You know, we can set and we can nitpick, and I get it. And I think that's what film is for. Then you can go back and you can kind of watch that and you can kind of see the areas, but nothing changes the outcome once it's over. So then let that kid flip that switch and go back to being a kid. Now, inevitably, I know I'm going to hit somebody's going to say, well, my kids are they're seniors in high school. My kids are a little bit older. I get that. I get the level of competitiveness goes up with age, right? I'm coaching 10-year-olds at the moment. 9 and 10-year-olds, most of them are going 10. Most of them are turning 10 now. So it's different. We're increasing intensity as we go up. The intensity and the expectations are definitely not the same as a high school football team where you have juniors and seniors and things like that. I understand that. But still, the same principles apply. You're still the safe place for your kid. It's not your place to tear your kid down, right? I understand the games have, the magnitude of the games is different, right? Because you start talking about a senior, when you lose that final game, that's it. Where these young kids, they still have many, many years of football left. And I understand that. But you still, when those games end, you're still the parent. You're not tied. Your love is not tied to anything they do athletically. And if it is, that's another thing you need to stand in the mirror and check yourself, because that's just crazy. You love your kid no matter what. And if you're only loving them because, man, right now they're the 4th ranked receiver in the 2027 class, well, what if that changes? Just saying. And so, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for season 2. And so, as I said, this season is a little bit more, I'm talking to the parents and I'm talking to the coaches. We talked a lot in season 1 about instilling the right type of the values. We're talking about character, and we're talking about culture and integrity and leading the right way and things like that. But this season, I'm really going to focus on us. Like, we have more impact than anybody. And if we expect our athletes to perform a certain way and be a certain way in the classroom and in the hallway and all of those things, well, then we have to be the ones that get them there. And if we're tearing them down more than anybody else does, well, that's on us. We're the ones causing those issues for our kids that we shouldn't cause. And so let's talk about an action plan. We're gonna call this the Lead from the Line action plan for the week. Okay. So we're gonna talk about the 30-minute rule. This is what we're gonna do. No talk of sports or sports performances for at least 30 minutes after the game. Now, this is different if they want to, and again, I think this could go longer. I really think you could just wait till the next day, whatever. Again, if they want to talk about certain things, that's fine, but you let them lead, but you're not correcting. You're listening with the intention of just listening. I'm not listening to fix anything. I'm just listening. Okay, so no talk of sports or performance for at least 30 minutes after the game. Let your kids eat. Let them hydrate, let them breathe, and then try that 6-word test, right? Hey, I love to watch you play. And then, once you get to that next practice or game, that just becomes your natural thing, right? At the end of every practice, it could even be practices. It could even be games. Like, hey, I love to watch you play. Practice, hey, man, I loved watching you out there today. You were a leader. You can implement that same thing in practices and games, whatever it may be. And then it's just nothing else after. Not a, I love to watch you play, but I loved watching you out there, but nah, man, I loved watching you play. And then I'm quiet. You want to talk about something? Cool. Daddy will talk about it with you. We can talk about it. But I'm no longer going to, and I hope that you can say this thing as well, I am no longer going to continue to coach my kid once we get in the car. I am going to parent my kid when we get in the car. Say that. That's your mindset. If you even need to, hey, when you get to the game, let your kid get out of the car first and you pull the visor down and open the mirror, look at it and go, I am about to coach my kid in this game. But after this game is over, I am going to parent my kid. Boom, close it, go about your way. Find you an accountability partner, your spouse, one of your other coaches, someone, and be like, where they give you a look at the end of the game and they mimic turn off a light switch, something. It doesn't have to be difficult. But I guarantee if you change the way you do those things, remember, the coach is for on the field, the fan version of you is for the stands, and the parent version of you is for the car ride home. You can do that. It's not that difficult. And so watch your kids' body language when you do all those things. Do their shoulders drop? Do they relax? Growth doesn't happen in a gym. It happens in an environment where we create. It happens in environments that we create. So if we create an environment of safety and a safe place, and this is an environment where I'm not analyzing your gameplay, hey, you're loved regardless of how you play, and all those things, and hey, you're 10, hey, you're 17, you're still a kid, you're still a child, I'm still gonna allow you to do all those things. Watch how your kids grow. I promise you will see a change in your kids. And so with that, thank you very much again for tuning in to the season 2 premiere. This is episode 1. So next episode, we're going to dive into early specialization, right? The early specialization trap. Are we overtraining our kids? And are we training them into a dead end? So as always, I appreciate your time. Lead loud, lead proud, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on Lead from the Line. If this episode helped you, share it with one person who needs to hear it today. Join the conversation on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you on the next one.
No flags on the play, keep your vision alive. Fatherhood and football, that's how we survive.